go to the cloud and I'll carry on.
Oh, thank you.
Sorry, I remembered that this morning. Anyway, I'll carry on. Okay. So when you are, when you're on, and by the way, when you pull up one of the spreads from here, it's going to randomly pick one of the spreads from your deck, right? Whatever spreads you've selected for that deck. So you can literally arrange anything and then have them generate random card selections from here and share those, right? So it's pretty powerful. But to get there, all you do is just, from the deck screen, view deck. You'll see at the top here, promote and share.
Ah, right.
Okay.
Deck screen.
It's also in the, I mean, everything's in the menu. Promote and share is there too, right? It's right next to embed.
Okay.
Okay.
So Nick, one question. Nick, can you only do it on the deck that you have bought, or you can promote and share any deck that you just click and open without buying it?
It's a very good question, and at the moment it's restricted to the creator, but I don't think I'm gonna open that up, because it makes total sense to share this, because you can't get the full artwork, right, from this, but you get these images, right? And that also, one of the things I'm planning to do is to let you create a curated set of these images, and that's what's going to be shown on your deck info page.
Nice.
Right? Because these collages are more valuable than just single cards, right?
Right.
And I think they demonstrate a lot of the personality of the app. So we're going to basically let you create these promote and share images and create a bundle of them, and then choose those to be displayed on your deck info page. But we're a little way off on that. But I basically, you have to build all these building blocks first, and then you can combine them later. Right?
Understand. You did a great job. I mean, we have moved so fast. You moved so fast that we have to catch up.
Nick, can I ask you
one more thing before I forget about this printing, purchase to print. So we need to actually link it to a printer online, or do we do it?
No, it's just it's wherever you sell your printed deck from.
Oh, right.
We're not offering any kind of print integration services.
Okay.
We're just sending you to wherever you sell your deck currently. Send people to there, right? So
okay, good.
Okay, so I think that's the.
Nick, can I ask you one question? Will this fancy promote and share feature handle transparency? Because right now I can't use it on the Hex deck because it's putting a big square around everything.
Oh yeah, good point. Yeah, good point.
That'd be awesome.
I will fix that. I basically in haste, in order to make it work and get it out there quickly, I just filled in the background. But as I've built it, I've realized how useful it is and how it's going to do more and more things. So yes, I will do that. Oh, and by the way, Heidi, I rotated the standard hexagons by 30 degrees in the latest release. So when you actually arrange hexagons, you might want to just recreate those hex spreads, and they will, the basic hexagon will rotate by 30 degrees to match up with how it's drawn in Deckable, which I know you pointed that out, but I picked that up. Okay, so this is the creator page, and we basically had passed 250 profiles on the creator page. It was getting pretty large, so I made a choice to restructure it. So now we show 4 featured profiles at the top, and then we show the genres below. So then if you're interested in brainstorming and ideation, you click on that, and now you get all the creators that are in the ideation space, right? So it helps you guys figure out who else to make friends with, right? Because I really strongly recommend that you guys befriend other people in the same category as you, because you can promote each other's decks and talk about these amazing brainstorming and ideation decks because they're the same as you do. If you've got tarot, if tarot is your thing, you know, share other tarot decks, and now you can easily find out who are the creators. So I think this is a lot more valuable, and you can search in here as well. So we happen to have quite a few Jennifers on Deckable in the ideation strategy section. So there we are. So that's pretty neat, and it's exactly the same as the marketplace. Like the interface is just following the same standards. So we pick things up. So that feels pretty useful and pretty powerful to kind of reinforce the community angle. So I think I'm just going to check what everyone's questions, and then we'll maybe dive in and do some dive into the app. What is Brave? What's that? So at the top.
Brave is it's another browser. It's one if you want to be incognito and stuff. I use it as my test browser when I'm looking at cross-platforming the websites I built.
Yeah, I know. I used to use this Brave as well. So you were asking about YouTube. When someone asked about, Rosie asked about the YouTube URL. So let me just debunk that. Let me go back and share. Share a screen. Okay. So here we are on YouTube, and the thing about YouTube, there is just so many different YouTube formats, right? There's so many different URLs. So look at this URL here, right? It's YouTube/watch and then question mark and then V equals, and the number after the V, that's the ID.
Right.
Okay. And so if you just take that and you put that on your deck, then this video will play from there. So let me just where am I? Yeah. So if I go to one of my it's going to go to a deck that I've created here. So I'll just
this is really good.
so
We've got to rebuild my website.
So then I just if I put that YouTube video in there, just that ID, right? And then I won't do it that one. That's not a good example. No, I can't really do that. But that's how you do it, because I can't play it because it's not a proper deck, so I won't. Anyway, yeah. So that's how you just pull the ID out, and if you can literally test it in minutes and you know it's there. And so that's really awesome.
So Nick, can I just ask, so we don't have to put the videos in there if we want to? I've been making some videos, but do we need the videos we want to go with our deck? Do we still have to re-upload the CSV file to get those in?
Yes, you do, but you just want to put the ID in, not put the ID in.
But just for one, just the ID. I'll remake a new one. Okay, thank you.
Just and you can if you edit the deck, you can put it straight on the deck page. But if you want to put it against each card, you need to then update the CSV. And using video, using the IDs is just I've just found it so much easier to support. It's just a much simpler way, because many of you use these weird and wonderful YouTube formats. There are so many ways to arrange a video, and at least if you grab the ID, we know we're all talking about the same thing, so it's super simple. Okay.
Thank you.
Just reading through in case anything else.
Can I ask a question about the app?
Yeah, sure.
So when I go into it and look at my deck, I only get like 3. I get the front, the and back of the box and the back of the card and nothing else.
Where do you mean in there?
Well, if I go, I've downloaded the app. Well, yes, I don't know this thing is. So if I've got 3 decks, 2 I bought, 1 is mine. when it says quick draw, get inspired, pick a deck. So I pick
Right.
my card and I get layout. Yeah, but I was looking, if I hit more information, then I have absolutely three things I see: the front and back of the box and the back of the
Yeah, well, that's right. Because that's not, the more information is not the deck, right? Let me dive
Now,
in.
I
Well,
thought what you
if-
saw, what you showed though, when you did that was several
Right.
cards. And that's for
Oh,
me,
yeah, right.
is I wouldn't buy a deck if I can't see several of the cards.
Right,
But-
so now we've updated that to 10 cards total, or 10 cards maximum. If you edit your deck in any which way, just change one little factor on your deck. If that's not being refreshed, you will see 10 cards there. So that will
I'm only
fix
getting
itself that way.
3.
Wait, because if you edit the deck, and then if you edit the deck on .com, it will then refresh that and show 10 cards. So
Okay.
and if you also need to make sure you set sample to no or sample to yes, because if you set sample to no, you can actually remove cards from being shown. So you can choose which cards are sampled in the deck info page. And there's a column in the spreadsheet. There's a column in the spreadsheet called sample. And if you use it and set it to yes or no, it defaults to yes, so you don't need to fill it in. But if you set it to no, you can exclude cards from being sampled and hence choose. If you have 5 favorite cards, just choose those cards with sample yes, and then you can control what's shown on the deck info page. That's oops.
So Nick, a question.
I'm doing box and 5 cards on the share, and all I get is a box and 1.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think things are working right, and I don't know what to do about it.
Well, as I said, if you edit the deck, you will be able to get 5 cards there, to get more than 5 cards. So here's your deck. If I just save this, so well. So you've got 3, you're right. So if I edit the deck,
okay.
You'll see now you've got 10.
All right. Okay. All right.
So which is what I said. Edit the deck, and you will get the full stack, because it's a relatively new feature. And
okay.
All you have to do to enable it is to edit your deck. So
thank you.
So Nick,
okay.
I have a question on the sample thing. I went to my spreadsheet, and it doesn't have, because I have one of the older spreadsheets. It wasn't in the update with the samples in. So I have no way. I mean, it's okay, the cards that are up, but
you can. But you just take the latest spreadsheet and then copy your content into the latest spreadsheet, and you'll be fine, right? It's very,
so that's
it's easy to update.
That's what I wanted to ask you, how I would update the old spreadsheet. Do I just copy and paste it, or do
Yeah, absolutely. Just make a new spreadsheet based on the new template, and then cut and paste everything in, and you'll be just fine.
Can I just do it as an overall? Can I do it as an overall copy and paste it, or do I have to do individual?
I would paste it depends on your columns. It won't smartly match it. So I would do it column by column, because I don't know where your columns are organized, right?
Okay, that's what I was afraid of. Okay.
Okay. So how about we I dive in and show you some of the actual app itself. I'm going to dive in and show you on the tablet, because I've got more room to move things around. So I'm going to stop sharing that, and I'm going to start sharing. Okay, and there we go. So here I am on my tablet or my iPad to be technically correct. And then here, so I've got these cards, right? And if this deck was, go to the deck info page and I scroll down, now I can remove from downloads. See this option at the bottom?
Yeah.
If I remove that from that deck is now removed from my phone. And so if I want to, I can reinstall it. Ugh. There it is. And if I reinstall it, it just reinstalls, right? So it's very simple. And basically, the reason you want to do that is if you've updated your deck somehow on Deckable, say you've added videos or you've added a guidebook, right? A lot of people have asked me that question. How do I do this? Well, you add the guidebook. So you add the extra cards to your spreadsheet. You upload the spreadsheet. You upload the new artwork, and then then you say, "Oh, it's not changed in my app." Well, you can now delete it and update it. And we are getting better at that, and we'll do that automatically over time. But it's really good to have that control. And anyway, inside Audible, they have that, so you can actually free up space on your phone by deleting a particular deck, right? So, and then if we were to go into this deck and do a quick draw, there it is, flip over, right? So there was a bug that's fixed in the latest release that depending on how you did it, these cards could disappear because they miscalculated where. Has anyone done this where do you know you can delete a card like that?
I'm trying to delete and couldn't.
So all you have to do is just put your finger over the card, right, and drag it down. You see the red bar at the bottom? Now you can't see where my finger is. My finger's just got over the delete button. It's gone bright red, right? And I let go and the card's gone, right? I want to add it back. I can just choose a couple of cards. I can flip all those cards over and drag that into, right? Oh, I don't want this anymore, so that's gone. And now I can also pick a different deck, right? So if I want to add in some soul cards, I could flip those over and add that in, right? So it's fun and easy now to create a mix and match deck. That's a pretty amazing experience, right? And you can do this while the mix is in effect, and it's just it's fun to watch, right? And you can even touch individual cards as you're watching it. Yeah, so all that's pretty good. And everything, what's really cool is in this screen now, whatever size your cards are, aspect ratio, it handles it and it adjusts everything. So it could be the front is portrait, the back is landscape. You flip it over, it adjusts correctly. That flows all the way through into the spreads. We had some, we definitely hadn't followed that through to every last little bit of detail, but we have now. So that's pretty cool. And then, you can search for cards by name here, which is why you tend to want to have words on your text on your cards, not just numbers for cards. You can then search for text. And what else in there?
What is it finding when you search? Is it finding the file name or?
Oh, it's finding the name of the card or the description of the card. So you could be that you read a card with a certain word on it. You can remember the word, but you can't remember what the card. You can't find the card. You can just search for the word, right? So, and then journal. There's nothing really new here, other than you can pick through. Oh, by the way, when you click in here. So you see I can zoom there. So that's new. So I can zoom in on any card, right? So and it's super useful because people with small phones can have a card down at the bottom of the screen in the if I pick a different, if I flip these over, I can pop this up to read it before I choose it, right? So and that same information is available on the deck info page, and everything on here is there.
Nick, I have a question.
Yeah. What's that?
This is Tamar Stone for Selves in a Box. When I go on Deckable and I go to like a 3-card spread, it doesn't say what the 3-card spread is. Is that something I can go in and say it's called entering the mystery, and the placement, what the placement of each card means and which one to turn over first?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so one of the things I demonstrated this morning was, I didn't show, let me go back to deckable.com and show you how to set that up, because I definitely showed that to everyone this morning.
Great.
Okay, yeah. So custom spreads are, I think, a kind of hidden gem, because probably I haven't talked about it very much, but it's really, I think it's really cool. So here we are. If I, what decks have I got? Let me just go and see. So I don't want to mess with someone else's deck.
That's
I want mine. Okay, so here's a deck that I played. I think I played with this one this morning. So I can go into the deck, and so I've selected. You have to select the spreads positively, which ones you want to include in the app, right? So here I've chosen all 10, but I've got no custom spread. So if I make a custom spread here, so I'm going to make a spread, and I'm going to make it a 4-card spread, okay? And I choose that, and here I am with the 4 cards, right? And I can literally move them around.
Wow.
And pinch and zoom them, right? So this is pretty cool, and I haven't seen any other app that does this, right? There you go. So I've now laid them out how I want them, if that's how I want them, and I can go across here and put 1, 2, 3, right? And just to complete the circle form, and so I can put that text right on the card.
Wow.
And then, but I also, you see, you've got the question. So this is my question, right? And this is my description, whatever, right? So if you put that information in here, when you perform the spread and choose the cards beneath it, when the spread is when you've completed the spread, you can click on the cards and get the meaning and the question and all of that stuff, right? So. And you can have, we provide you with some basic spreads to give you the idea, but really I think the most interesting thing is for each of you to create your own spreads with your decks, right? And you can, I don't know, I think this is an option for everyone, is you can export a spread and you can import a spread. So it simply means, because there's a lot of fiddling around that moving things into the right place. So you can then export it and create another one and then change that. Right, so that's really, really powerful. And
what kind of file do you use to import it, Nick?
Oh, it creates I think it's just an XML file, but it just downloads it and names it for you, and then you upload it. I mean, it's really easy. I just export it, and there's my spread 430. I think it'll give it an extension. Yeah, it's a JSON file, right? That's what I thought. And then if I create a new spread, right? So I could go to, if I go to the deck, here's all the deckable spreads, right? But you want to create your own version, you can just export this Zodiac, right? Like so, and then I go back to my deck. Oh, well, I could just, so I could create a new spread here for this deck, and this is my Zodiac. like so. And I just choose import spread, and I choose the file. Oh dear, where did I put it? Downloads, was it downloads? Now I don't remember where I put it. Just a minute. Oh, it's there. I don't need to remember. It's there. Where is it? Show file. Show and find it.
You put it in code, the code folder.
Okay, thank you. Oh yeah, horrible. Okay, that was bad. Just a minute. I'm losing my train of thought. Where was I? Got too many screens open. There we go. It was in code. Thank you for paying attention. There's my Zodiac spread, and I open it, and I upload it, and there it is, right? So now I can create my own version, right? So you could take anything we've created and take it off in your own direction, personalize it, extend it, share it with other people, you know. That's a pretty rich feature set for the spread, and the spread appears in the app. And one thing that you can't do right now, okay, in Deckable you've got freeform, you've got quick draw, which is basically a fast track to a freeform layout, and you've got spreads. We are going to introduce the idea of, because a spread to me is like scaffolding. It lets you build something really quick and put everything in the right place, and then we're going to let you take away the scaffolding. And then you basically, we can turn a spread into a freeform card sort, right? Which means that you can't, because otherwise you might have felt, oh, I wish I'd gone down this track or that track, right? So you can basically turn one back into the other, and then off you go. Okay, so I was showing you, so that's how you create the spreads, and then I was going to demonstrate some of the spreads and some of the features inside Deckable. Let me check the questions again. There's a lot of comments flying by.
Is there any possibility that the way of just the shuffle and stop can end up getting used on our custom spreads eventually, or is that a big ask?
No, it will. Yeah, it's there, because when you do a spread, when you do a spread, you pick one of your custom spreads.
But then you have to add your cards and choose them and put them in. Whereas with the random ones, it just grabs cards and puts them in the spot. Oh,
you want basically a quick draw, the child of quick draw and spreads. Yes. Okay, got it. Yes, I want that too. Yeah, that's not hard to do. I mean, given everything else we've done, that's like it's an afternoon snack. Yeah.
When I'm using another app that works with cards, you can either pull your cards into place or just random draw, and it'll pick for you. Right. And we've got the quick draw. You basically just want a quick layout, right? And the other thing everyone's asked for, there's like at least 30 or 40 people have asked for this, is many of you have decks that have like really a 4 decks in one, right? And what people want to do is pick one card from each of the sub decks, right? Well, I have a lot of people, as I said, that want this, and we've been deliberating how to do this, because there's some coding challenges to it, but there's also a user interface challenge, because I have a card in my hand and I'm now moving it to a spot that it's not allowed to go into. Like, oh, what do we do in that instance in the user interface? Well, I definitely believe there's a time and a place for waiting for the right answer to show up, and I think the right answer did show up, and it's called multi-draw. So basically what you do is you do a quick draw, we do a quick draw where you get one from every suit. So if you have a 4-card deck, if you have 4-suit deck, you get one from each suit, or a 3-suit deck or a 2-suit deck. And that, I think, satisfies 90% of the people who've been asking for that feature. And I'm glad we waited, because that's simple. and I think people will understand it. So yeah. Anyone got any questions about the guidebook? I know that's been a lot.
I do.
The thing that a lot of people have asked about.
I have been messing that up left and right, and I can't seem to figure out the right way to do it. I've been like, I have like a welcome card, and then I have a card that I want to use that describes each suit.
Right.
And then they all show up as a preview, like all these kind of welcome and guide cards, as opposed to the actual.
Okay, so one of the things that, a little bit on the history of this, and it basically, you can see where we started off by having no shuffle, and we still support no shuffle as a tag, right? But it's really become obvious that what people want is this guidebook feature. So now we use the guidebook as a tag, and now from the about page, from the deck info page, you can get to view all of those guidebook cards, the no shuffle cards. But when you're using Deckable, and I can demonstrate to you this in a minute, is when you shuffle, it leaves the no shuffle cards exactly where they are in the deck, and it shuffles everything else and then puts them back. Okay, so you have a choice where you put your no shuffle cards. You can move them to the end of the deck so you don't see them. You just sort them in the spreadsheet. You just move those cards to the bottom, and they will then stay at the end and you won't see them. But what's become obvious to me is screen. I'm just going to share screen. What's become obvious to me is as I jump into like this reading, and I go to choose. What am I trying to show you? Oh yeah. This deck doesn't have any info cards in it, but what's become obvious to me is I want to have two buttons on here that let me look at the shuffle, look at the deck and the guidebook separately. Because what people say to me, oh, that they're coming up in shuffle. They're not, because if you shuffle, it only shuffles the non-guidebook cards, right? But I can visually see that you can see the other cards down here because they're in your deck. But I think as I've got a much better appreciation of what this feature should be, is we will basically let you have the cards down here via one button and the guidebook as another, so that we actually keep them more separate. It makes more sense, but it's amazing how, you know, when you've actually uploaded and got 350 decks, and you get through all these conversations, you realize, oh, that's what people really want, right? Because the guidebooks become a bigger feature than we first thought, right? Which is great, but you know, it's evolved with that process. So, and the other, this was an, I don't know if you knew this because I'd forgotten about this, but when you actually filter the timeline, you can see, you know, I could just choose just the decks that I bought, right? Or whenever I've journaled, or just the quick sorts that I did. And I obviously don't have one in my timeline right now, otherwise they let me filter one. So you can basically filter for whatever you want, and it filters down the timeline to match that, right? So it's pretty powerful to be able to do that. I'm back with everything.
Can I ask you, just backtrack just a little bit to the guidebook?
Yeah.
So if we're excluding cards from the shuffle, is there going to be a specific tag just for guidebook? Because right now we're
That's what I mean.
Okay. Because I have multiple cards that need to get excluded from the shuffle, but I don't want them all as guidebooks.
And you can do that. There's no, and one of the things that say that again. There's multiple cards. There's multiple cards that.
Two different cards that need to get excluded from shuffle. One is a guidebook and one is something else.
Okay, all right. And I think we also need to have private guidebook pages too. It's the other feature that I know, because I made this assumption, rightly or wrongly, that guidebooks would be public, and the cards would be more like the cards are the secret source. But depending if you're a coach, the cards can be the secret sauce, and the guidebook can be the secret sauce, and the cards can be where the value is, right? And realizing this, it's so great to have this pool of 350 people who are like, well, what about me? And then I listen to enough of you and go, because one of the things that I feel most proud about with Deckable, it may not seem simple to you, I guess, depending, because you've gone through all these journeys, but it's incredibly simple, isn't it? And it's incredibly consistent as an experience, despite all these powerful things, because we haven't rushed over here to answer that need and rushed over here to answer that, and then we'd be chaotic. We have a very simple strategy. So I'm grateful for your patience, but I think we're actually seeing a better product for having been patient. And I know the 20-year-old me wouldn't have made that product. So yeah.
And
nothing wrong with being 20, by the way.
we have it that again, cards are private, because if we're putting a lot of juicy information in the guidebook as well, because once I know there's a button for that, then I'm going to do one, because I don't really want it.
Yeah, and I haven't really, I need to write this down and make a decision and tell you so you can tag for the future, even if we don't do that right now, right?
I don't have an example right now. I'm holding off for that.
Right.
So is the tag right now no shuffle, or is it guidebook?
I would use guidebook, but you can actually create your own tags, because you could go to the deck and edit the deck and put the tags that you want to use to be excluded. But what's become obvious to me is that we need to be able to describe we're trying to describe the deck without any effort, right? So that we don't have to do anything to describe the deck, because that would be a burden. So then we focused on describing the no shuffle cards as being the guidebook. And I think we need to describe some, and we need a tag to describe a private guidebook page so that it doesn't get seen to be public. You can exclude the cards from the deck info page by setting sample to no. And in Quantity, actually, that's the simple answer, is you can make the guidebook sample no, right? We already have that feature. I just haven't documented or formalized that as a process, right? I don't know if that makes sense, but because you can prevent from sampling, that stops things going onto the card info page. We could use the same mechanism to stop the guidebook being public, right? So if the sample is no and it's in the guidebook, it won't be visible when you click on guidebook. Right? You just get a sample. You get the sample yes guidebook card. That sounds incredibly complicated, but that makes sense.
I'm assuming the only people who will be able to leave reviews are purchasers of decks.
Correct. Yeah.
Need a review removed because the person who purchased wants to give me stars and said, I'm sure it's awesome. I know you, Benita, but I'm not using the deck because.
Well, they can edit their review, so they can go back and edit it.
But
okay, so that's just
came to me through the review process, because there's no like Zendesk for help
menu. Well, there is a contact menu from the about menu. At the top of the contact menu, there is a contact form, which is where most people contact me. So that is there right now.
If I can ask intuitively, I mean, I build websites all the time. If I don't see contact us, I wouldn't know to look for.
Well, it is. It's there, Benita, in the about menu. It's like the second or third option. It's there.
I'm thinking about users. Most users will look for a contact us or a help or a question mark thing.
Well, it's there.
I know,
there.
We won't look for it under about.
Okay. Well,
that's what I'm saying, is if it was a separate thing on the menu, that because immediately somebody's going to look for help or a question mark or contact. They're not. I look under. I think it's just about whoever's creating it. I don't expect to find that under there. Just thinking about.
Well, that's where you find privacy terms. Everything's kind of bundled into an about menu. It's pretty normal, but I'll have a look around and see what other people are doing to see. But I'm trying to follow that. Otherwise, I end up with menu spread. There's then everything appears on the menu, and then it's like, oh, and then suddenly you can't see it because, I mean, I I think you can put the information right in front of people's nose and they still won't see it if they're in that mindset. Like, I don't know.
People struggle to purchase and they don't see a way to do it through the site. It's not obvious to them.
Okay, well, we're working on it. You can only do so much at once, right? So I can take off, I can bite off what I can chew, you know? So
Nick, I just want to tell you, say you said this would be 45 minutes long. And so I want to say this before it ends.
Yeah.
This is worth 1,000 blog posts to me, you know, to have you explain these things and show these things is just so helpful. And I really appreciate you taking the time. And I do see the progress you've made. The share functionality is just extremely sexy. And my previews have improved. I don't know what you did, but they look a lot better. They're more face 0 cards and not so much face 1 and 2.
Yeah, no, I switched. Yeah, I switched that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I see the progress that you've made, and I just want to thank you for taking this time and with us, and for everything you've done to move 1,000 balls forward in the past couple of months. It's a lot of progress.
Thank you. No, there's been a lot of progress. Yeah, for sure. And there's just, we are going to keep, like, I just think of a river and rocks mentality. Like, you have a river with the water running at a certain level. We lower the water, we see new rocks, right? We deal with the rocks, we lower the water, we find new rocks, right? And I personally have to be very, very comfortable with being imperfect, right? Because if I didn't, I'd never sleep and I'd go psycho. And I'm, you know, I'm okay with that because I don't have a choice, right? So, and I'm actually enjoying the fact, because I actually feel some of the best features come from not rushing to do these things, right? Back to Benita's comment. Benita, we dropped Slack as a support platform about a month ago because it was too expensive. Somebody volunteered and jumped in and suggested we use it. I kind of agreed and just went with the flow, but then I got the bill later after the month's free trial. And I was like, okay, you can't afford that because they want to pay per user. So that's just not scalable. So we're implementing something called Discourse as a replacement. But the problem is, you know, not Discord because that's another option, but Discourse. And the only reason I haven't deployed it is because I need to fill in a lot of background information and set up a lot of stuff. And it's just a lot of time and effort. And I've been concluding that, you know, all the things that I've done to this point have been higher priority. I mean, the biggest thing I've tried to listen to is anyone that's told me what their people are struggling with, and then tried to deal with that, right? Because every single person amongst you who has shared this with your audience, and then they've told you what they struggle with, and then you've taken the time and effort to send me an email to do that. I've gone in there and tried to, you know, deal with them as group solutions and solve things one by one, right? So I'm not defending wherever it is, but I just know we've come a long way. There's way more to come. I've done this before with Listly. It's so you just have to get used to being imperfect, and it's painful and annoying. But then we also have to recognize, look how far we've come, right? It's like, I feel like we're at base camp. Look how far we've come, but I can look up to the summit. Oh shit, there's a long way to go, right? But we're here, and I can only say we haven't lost a single deck creator. Anyone that's had frustration with downloading the app or getting in that I've had direct contact with, we've resolved everything. You know, there's not been a single issue. People have so if your friend, the person who tried to get or bought your deck, you know, just give them my email. I'm cool with that. Like, I saw your thing before, so I'll reply to that. I mean, yeah. I put my email on my cell phone on the bottom of every email that I send because I am here to be available, right?
Without your permission.
So, you know, no. I mean, you know, it all ends up in my inbox. So, you know, until we have a team and other things responding to all this, that's what it is, right? And I actually enjoy getting all this feedback because I realize success comes from getting rid of all this friction, right? And we all know, everyone on this call knows how amazing Deckable is. I mean, because we've all used it for all the things and we know what it does, right? We know the world needs it. We have to communicate that to people. No one knows they need it right now, right?
And I just want to say, as a daily user, and I've bought a number of decks now and I'm loving it, I may say, hey, I see this, and this, but I'm well aware you have to release and massage as you go, and stuff out there. It's a wish list. It's like, you'll get to it eventually. We know that. We have complete faith in what you're doing. We love what you're doing. So certainly I hope you understand when I say I see this.
Oh, yeah, I totally get that. I totally know that. You've given me some amazing feedback along the way. So every one of you has given me, whether it's been encouragement or, questions and challenges, they're all good, right? I feel an immense sense of achievement of just, we've got so many people and everyone's happy and calm, and maybe there's things they want, or you've seen so much progress that there's like, I have faith and time, and I just I want to keep that up, and also recognize it's a marathon, not a sprint. We're not racing to do everything, because we want to be here in 5 years time when we've got whatever, we've got 1 million users, right? So I also wanted to share a couple of things. I know I did say there was a time limit and I do have to go fairly soon, but I do want to share a few things, because so the first thing I wanted to focus on next was a thing called 5 Friends Friday. And I've talked to a few of you about this. It's sort of moved down the priority list, but only because other things I think need dealing with first, right? But I'm going to tell you all what it is, so you're aware of it. And basically 5 Friends Friday is every Friday, if you're on Deckable, you will get 5 new invites to give to friends of yours via email, right? When you give them give those friends an invite, they get a guest account on Deckable, and they get a credit to get a free deck, okay? A deck of their choice, not just the decks that we give them. People go, I didn't want this deck, right? So what we plan to do is to let creators opt in to say, I would like to join for January. I'll join the free pool, and I'll set a limit to the amount of free decks I want to give away, right? So you can cap things, right? And right now, I think the mindset that I have very strongly is, we're not here to make money today. We want to make money today. What we want, imagine if we run a deck of the day when we have 1 million users, which we will get to. That deck of the day will be very, very powerful. So our job is to get to that point. And if anything we do to bring people on, we might be giving away something now. But if we give away 1 deck to a person and they invite friends and they invite friends, etc., right? So, and you don't have to participate in the free deck. You can, it's up to you. It's totally choice. I'm not forcing anyone to do this. I think there's going to be plenty of people that want to do it. And it's a strategy. It's a strategy that I have in mind. It's the top strategy I have in mind to take us to 100,000 users. And I want to unleash that strategy as soon as we've got rid of enough friction that when those people turn up, they get excited and use it and buy some decks and are positive, right? So I pushed that back a little bit. The first thing I've decided to do, because we were onboarding people, but we're also frustrating people with being, we're trying to sell them a deck a day when they've just joined and haven't managed to use it yet. So I've opted to move, and I put this in the update. I've opted to move deck of the day to decks of the week. So we're going to still do 7 decks for a price for a week. And that way people have time to respond. They open 1 email, not 7, and they can choose, right? We'll probably go back to a deck of the day at some point in the future, but it's manageable for now. I'm also going to make it a beautiful stylized email, because every email I've been sending from Deckable so far has been just text only. And so, we have an audience who are all very visual, right? So if we send nice looking emails, we'll get a better response rate. So that's kind of top of my list. And I hope to have that complete for tomorrow. So we'll actually send the deck of the day tomorrow, deck of the week tomorrow with 7 decks, and it'll be live for a week. Right? But then top of my list is onboarding. It's like, and I'm very open to ideas and suggestions how we do this. Because I want to get feedback from people who, like you guys have got skin in the game because you've got decks, right? So you can handle the frustration and also the joy of discovery and the path, right? But if I turn up with no skin in the game, what stops me? And we have both experiences, right? We have people I don't know turn up and buy 3 decks. And it's like crazy. Where do they hear of us from? I get the answers to some of these questions, and all of them. We have other people who turn up and then go, oh, what's this? I don't get it. And they don't, do anything with the experience, right? So we have lots of things that we can do. We plan, and it's a change of strategy in my mind, because I was previously thinking, well, Instagram doesn't have any explainer videos, right? But maybe it did when it was at the beginning. We don't actually remember. No one knows what Instagram did when they had 10,000 or 100,000 users. We just know Instagram with millions, right? So basically, we're going to put some tips inside the app. If when you get to the home page for the first time, it's going to, did you know this? Did you know that? Type of thing, right? I personally hate them. I think everyone hates them, but they also serve a purpose of getting people to a certain point. I also think we're going to make a series of videos, a 1-minute video on why the homepage is valuable, and then a 1-minute video on quick draw. Like, it's not that it needs that much, it's ridiculously simple, but what we're doing is making a video that teaches people we can do these things, right? And we give some information to people so they can actually get on board and get excited. So that's where I'm heading, just to gather every piece of information about where friction is. Where are we losing people? What do they, because like the number of people who've turned up and bought decks and thought, I don't know what they thought, because they thought it was a desktop app, but we never said it was a desktop app. But people think that, or how can I install it on my computer? Oh, I have a tablet or a phone. I mean, I don't know where people get these thought processes, but it's fascinating to realize people turn up with these perceptions, right? And we need to do things to reset or frame the right perception so that we, get people to where we want them to go, right? And then, yeah.
Nick, is there, do you have an easy way to give some incredibly high level data about who's buying, or how many people are buying, or how many decks have sold, or how many creators are buying or non-creators are buying? Is there any of that data available yet?
I haven't, I have that data. I haven't I basically want to give everyone your own sales data as soon as possible. I have a kind of rough of that, but I need to make sure that if I give it you,
right,
it doesn't cause me more questions.
Right.
So I need to give it, because that typically, if I give anything to 500 people and it isn't abundantly clear, I get 500 questions in my inbox.
Right.
And it's like, oh my God, that didn't work, right? So I'm trying to make sure that I have that. And you asked the question about how many creators are buying, and that's a kind of, it's a good point. It's like I feel like if we're not all eating our own dog food, how can we expect other people to come and buy decks, right? If we're not. One of the things I asked the group this morning was, I would love to ask you, and to ask the people who are close to you that use decks, to use Deckable every day for a month and write down your experience, what that made you feel. Did it feel like a burden? Was it fun? What did you want to do? What was missing, right? What were the obstacles? How could this been quicker and easier? What did you want from it? What did you feel? Because we're creating an emotional experience here. And I want to create that and create emotional moving experiences with Deckable. I think we're well on our way to doing that. I kind of felt, this is a very human experience, and I felt a bit kind of beaten up the other day, and I was like, oh, God, this is exhausting. And I sat down with Deckable and I went, with fresh eyes, I looked at it and I went, this is freaking awesome. I don't give a damn where we are. This is so damn cool. anyone that's pouring negativity on this right now can go piss off and come back in 6 months
Yes.
when we're ready, right?
Yeah.
Because
right.
I just felt like it's amazing, right? And
It is.
so
I'm just very
like
interested to see and hear, and it's very early, I recognize that, but as a creator, I want to understand, even at this point, what's working about, what's selling and why, like what's the kind of overall overarching nature of a deck that seems to really work.
I don't have that answer right now, because I wish I knew the answer to that question, because I have not seen a commonality.
That's what I was wondering. Okay.
And so I've had different theories, and I think some of it has been my inconsistency of the timing of sending out during the day. There's been so many moving factors. And I thought about it, and I was like, one other factor that slowed everyone down, I made the cardinal mistake of telling everyone which the 42 were. So some people have been waiting for the deck they want out of the 42. If they didn't know, they would have not waited and bought other things. So I'm like, that was a mistake. So I mean, I've made a few mistakes, but none of them are like, whatever. The scale of things, these are nothing, right? So.
Well, that'll be interesting data for you and your team or whoever it is that's able to look at and just start to notice over time what's working. And then as creators start to understand that, to, like I build decks, physical decks, but they have a different nuanced use and functionality on digital. And I've got to really think that through. I'm learning.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. No, it's cool.
Will there be?
Yeah, I mean, I also want to do these. I'm going to offer these kind of calls to the consumer, right? Because just like, come see, it's a chat. We can do a demo. We can ask questions, right? I think just being open to that, and I think one of the things I knew this. I knew we weren't ready for consumers, but I knew that unless we pushed it out the door, we wouldn't get ready. Because we would have put back launching, and I would have spent another month answering creator questions and solving more things you wanted rather than dealing with the issues the consumer want, right? So we're here. So now let's move forward. And I also feel like, I don't know quite how to ask for this, but I feel like each of you guys could find 10 people or 5 people or 3 people who could come and use your deck, and you could gather feedback of coaching them through the use of your deck. And then we can gather all that feedback, right? Because I think we're acting pretty intelligently. The resources we're directing are at the biggest problems, right? And as long as we keep that up, I think we don't frustrate anyone, everyone's happy. I feel very happy with progress. I really do. I would love to have had different things, but I didn't have any wild expectations. I knew it was going to be, a grind. People do not turn up to new products and buy products on new platforms at the first time they see something, right? So there's a lot of education, and I'm excited to just begin that journey. And I want to get. Do feel like I've been bogged down and not doing enough marketing and like new outreach stuff because I've just been supporting everyone. So I want to get past that. Do less of that and more of the promotional. But I wanted
to ask, and forgive my ignorance, maybe it's already there and I haven't seen it, because I know eventually there will be a creator dashboard and we'll see our purchase.
I was just gonna ask that.
Right. So now I was able to see a list of my purchasers and a way to contact them. That would help, because I do have my people deck, or I'm struggling to purchase your deck, but I don't know everybody that's actually done it.
And I have a dilemma there, because I'm not technically allowed to post that information,
share that information,
permission, right? So I can give you the data, but I want to add in the question to people: do you want your information to be passed on to the creator? How many people, by the show of hands, have a thank you note on their deck? Who knew about the thank you note? Anyone didn't know that the one? Because you can add the thank you note, and then the recipient gets the person who buys your deck gets your thank you note, and therefore can have your
Be connected.
email or your sign up and be connected, right? I mean, I think that's a pretty cool feature. And I'm like, the amount of things I tell people that got more action out of every creator. More people just totally got that and dived in and created. That was very effective. So
is there a way to see like the people or the number of purchases that you've had? I honestly...
that's what I need to make sure that doesn't cause confusion. So I have it, but I need to make sure that I sanitize it before I release it to people, so it doesn't cause me more headaches of supporting that.
Just sheer numbers as opposed to like any sort of personal information or anything like that.
Right.
You know, just optics into what's selling.
Right. And I also need to, like, when if anyone that's part of Deckable goes in and gets a deck, I need to like remove those sample decks from the numbers so that people literally will see I sold X decks and they'll start multiplying a math number from that, right? So because it's just human nature. So I need to make sure that I don't give you an over-reported number that includes, like, if we downloaded a sample deck and because I don't just get a deck, I actually make a kind of like, if I take a deck to use it, I make a kind of, it's logged as a purchase, right, at zero price, but I've got to report all that back, right? So,
Nick, quick one before I leave. You were saying that we get 10 or 5 people, but could I like send it to them, these people who want to participate, as a gift, like send my card and ask them to work on it and give me feedback?
Well, yeah, the problem
rather than them
is,
buying
yes,
it.
Well, one is I sort of don't believe in that, because I think if people aren't paying for it, they don't actually even value the feedback they're giving you, right?
Got it.
But also we need to implement that, whether it's free or paid. We need a couponing system. The couponing is kind of half built, and when we roll out 5 Friends Friday, it'll be built on our couponing system, which means we'll then be able to do other things shortly after that. So I do think I've got my head in the do A, then B, then C, then D.
Got it.
I feel like I'm on top of that. But I'm very, like, the thing I'm most open to is if any of you have any suggestions or feedback from people who are hitting friction, if I gather that information, I can act on it more intelligently the more data I have. So,
got it. Yeah.
But yeah, if you could work with friends and connections of yours, that's the people who've done that have been the most valuable, because they've really kind of, not only have they brought people to the platform, they've then helped those people through that process, and I've got feedback on where the friction was, right? So.
Okay.
Ask for feedback in the thank you note. The other thing is, I wanted to mention, I posted a screenshot in the chat of what I've got on my website. I do feel it's our job to educate our public on.
Right. Totally.
I couldn't use the JavaScript, but I did my own thing, and so it has a review, a little explanation. You know, join, get the deck, purchase the deck, use the app on your phone or tablet, so it's clear. You know.
Yep. No, definitely. And I remember, what was it? I spoke to. Anyway, yes. Well, and by the way, is Rosie still? Yeah, she's there. Rosie, yes, the audio feature does work. You need to upload MP3s. That's basically how the audio works. And what you don't want to do is don't have audio and video, because that will break things. Have audio or video, one of the two.
And are we going to be able to like get a code, like a coupon code? Because I'm thinking, like, for people who take my course, it would be neat to be able to gift them my deck, because it's based on the principles of my online course.
Right. And that's the same thing, all coupons, like, we have to provide a couponing system. And if we have to give a coupon, we have to be able to track it. We have to be able to charge for coupons, that give them away to, like, whatever coupons is one big bucket. There's a lot in there. And I thought I was further along than I was. And then I realized with 5 Friends Friday, anyway, I'm getting closer, because 5 Friends Friday is moving that to actually be revealed.
Yeah, that's good.
Nick?
Yeah.
Nick?
Yep.
I have a personal question about my cards. Should I contact you separately for that?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. That's fine. Yeah. I mean, you depending on what it was, but yeah. How is everyone? I need to scoot fairly soon because I have plans to have to be places.
I have a really quick question about the spreadsheet.
Okay.
I was under the impression, but I may be wrong because I thought it happened before. On the first one, if I edit or update my spreadsheet, does it automatically transfer, or do I have to do it? I have to upload it each time?
Yeah, exactly. You edit the spreadsheet, you download it, and you upload the CSV.
Okay, that's what I've been doing because it wasn't working. Yeah, I thought I was doing something wrong.
It's not. It's not automatic. That's exactly how it's meant to be. Right? Yeah.
Okay. I thought it had happened before, but thank you. It's okay.
For the menu, Google likes to see footer menus, and if you had a footer menu with each page listed, if people are struggling, they'll go down there, see contact us, and they're happy.
Oh, that's true. That's a good suggestion. Okay, that's a good idea.
Hi, Nick. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Mary. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Nick. This is the
Thank
progress
you.
has been
So
remarkable.
good. I'll get into it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks,
Thank
Nick.
you.
Thanks,
Good
Nick.
night.